At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
All right, so today we're diving deep into something a lot of you have been asking about, the NIS2 directive.
Okay.
And to help us make sense of it all,
Yeah.
we've got Paco Pérez back with us.
Right.
He's a digital law partner at VAPASEC, cybersecurity law professor.
Yes.
And he even used to be in charge of INSIBI, Spain's National Cybersecurity Institute.
You got it.
You might remember him from some of our other deep dives.
Yeah.
He really knows his stuff.
Well, I try.
So Paco, this NIS2 directive,
Right.
it's causing quite a stir, especially here in Spain, where
Yeah.
things seem to be moving a bit slower than in other parts of Europe.
That's right. It's
a holdup.
You see, the directive itself came out back in December 2022.
Okay.
And countries were given 2 years to sort of incorporate it into their national laws.
Sure.
But here in Spain,
Yeah.
we're still waiting on the draft legislation.
Oh, wow.
So that leaves businesses in a bit of a limbo, unsure of what exactly they need to do.
So you have this deadline, but no clear instructions.
It's a bit of a tough spot.
Especially for businesses that maybe don't have like a full-time cybersecurity team
Exactly.
at their disposal.
And the thing is, NIS2 is a big step up
Okay.
from the previous NIS1 directive.
Okay.
It broadens the definition of essential and important entities,
So it's not just
casting a wider...
critical infrastructure providers anymore.
Exactly. A whole range of sectors
Okay.
that might not have considered themselves critical before.
Like healthcare providers and
Precisely. Think about
financial institutions, logistics companies.
Yeah,
they all
play a vital role
play a part.
in our society and economy,
Absolutely.
making them potential targets for cyber attacks.
Okay, so more businesses are affected.
Right.
But what does that actually mean for them? What changes are we talking about?
Well, one of the biggest shifts with NIS2
Okay.
is this emphasis on leadership accountability.
Yep.
It explicitly states that company boards and executives can be held personally liable for cybersecurity incidents that result from their negligence.
Hold on. Negligence. That's a bit
Yeah.
scary. Can you explain that a little?
Of course.
Yeah.
Legally speaking,
Yeah.
it comes down to two key duties.
Okay.
The duty of loyalty and the duty of diligence.
Okay.
Duty of loyalty basically means acting in the best interest of the company,
Right.
putting its needs above your own.
Okay.
Duty of diligence is about acting with reasonable care and prudence.
So being careful
Yes,
when managing the company's affairs.
exactly.
So if a company gets hit with a ransomware attack
Yeah,
because the board didn't prioritize cybersecurity,
right.
they could be held personally responsible.
That's right.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, we're talking potential financial penalties,
Wow.
damage to their reputation,
Okay.
even legal action from shareholders.
That's serious.
It's no wonder we're seeing a rise in these specialized insurance policies.
Yeah.
For board members to protect themselves from this kind of liability.
So it's a wake-up call for company leaders
Absolutely.
who maybe thought cybersecurity was just an IT issue.
Right. NIS2 is shifting the perspective,
Okay.
making it clear that cybersecurity is a business risk
Fair.
that needs to be addressed from the top down.
And it's not just about accepting responsibility after the fact.
All right.
Right. NIS2 also requires companies to proactively train their board members
Exactly.
on cybersecurity risks and management.
It's about equipping them with the knowledge they need
Yeah.
to make informed decisions,
Sure.
understand the threats,
Right.
and allocate resources effectively.
So imagine being responsible for a company's cybersecurity strategy,
Right.
but not really understanding the ins and outs of a phishing attack or a data breach.
Yeah, it would be a nightmare.
Now, I'm curious about the impact on smaller businesses, the SMEs.
Okay.
They often have very limited resources, money and manpower
Right.
to dedicate to cybersecurity.
Yeah, that's a valid concern.
So what's the advice for these companies?
Well, SMEs are definitely facing unique challenges when it comes to NIS2.
Right.
Implementing these new security measures can be costly and complex.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as installing an antivirus program and calling it a day.
So what can they do?
Well, One of the most practical things SMEs can do is seek external advice and support.
So get a consultant.
Exactly. There are cybersecurity consultants who specialize in helping businesses of all sizes assess their risks, implement appropriate security measures, and build a robust cybersecurity framework.
It's like bringing in a specialist contractor when you're renovating your house.
You got it.
You might be handy with a hammer,
right?
But sometimes you need someone with the expertise to guide you through the process.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to break the bank either.
That's good.
There are also affordable security tools and resources specifically designed for SMEs, offering cost-effective ways to boost their cybersecurity posture.
So it's not an impossible task.
No, not at all.
There are options.
Definitely.
But beyond the immediate challenges, do you think NIS2 could actually have a positive impact on Spain's cybersecurity in the long run?
Absolutely. It's easy to get caught up in the concerns.
Yeah.
But NIS2 has the potential to be a catalyst for positive change.
Right.
It can drive a cultural shift towards prioritizing cybersecurity across all sectors.
Making it part of business as usual.
Exactly. Making it an integral part of business operations.
Like how people were initially resistant to online banking?
Right.
But now it's the norm.
Precisely. There might be some initial pushback.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the long-term benefits of improved cybersecurity practices will far outweigh the growing pains.
Okay, I'm starting to see the big picture here.
Good.
Let's zoom back in.
Okay.
On a specific aspect I think will resonate with our listener. Supply chain security.
Okay.
How does NIS2 address that?
Okay, so this is where the ripple effect comes into play.
Okay.
NIS2 requires companies to look beyond their own internal operations and assess the cybersecurity risks within their entire supply chain.
So even if a small business isn't directly impacted by NIS2, because they don't fall under those essential or important categories, they might still need to step up their game if they want to work with larger clients who are subject to the directive.
Imagine a scenario where a large energy company, subject to NIS2, demands that all its suppliers meet certain cybersecurity standards.
Oh, wow.
This could force smaller suppliers to adapt or risk losing those valuable contracts.
So they have to keep up.
It's a chain reaction that can incentivize better cybersecurity practices across the board.
That makes a lot of sense.
Good.
It's like building codes for earthquake resistance. Not only protect the individual building, but also contribute to the safety of the whole neighborhood.
Exactly.
So we've established that NIS2 is affecting a wider range of businesses than before. But can you break down specifically which sectors are most impacted?
Yeah, the directive specifically names several key sectors in its annexes.
Okay.
We're talking energy, healthcare, finance, even space exploration and logistics.
Wow.
Basically, any sector that plays a critical role in providing essential services. Or maintaining the stability of our society and economy.
These are all sectors that touch people's lives every single day.
Exactly.
It really drives home the potential consequences of a cybersecurity failure.
Right. We're not just talking about financial losses. We're talking about disruptions to healthcare, transportation, energy supplies.
Things that people depend on.
Things people rely on.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's precisely why the EU is taking such a strong stance with NIS2.
Okay.
It's about protecting essential services and ensuring the resilience of critical infrastructure in the face of these increasingly sophisticated cyber threats.
Now, I know you mentioned certification earlier. And I'm guessing our listener might be wondering if there's a specific NIS2 certification.
That's a great question.
They need to obtain.
And one that often causes confusion. Here's the key takeaway.
Okay.
NIS2 doesn't mandate a specific certification. It's outcome focused. Meaning companies need to demonstrate they have adequate security measures in place. Regardless of whether they have a particular certificate.
So it's about proving you're doing the right things.
Exactly.
Not just checking boxes on a form.
That's a good way to put it. However, there are established frameworks that companies can use to guide their compliance efforts. ISO 27001 and 27017, for instance, offer internationally recognized standards for information security management. And here in Spain, we have the National Security Scheme, which aligns closely with NIS2 requirements.
So it's like having a roadmap to help navigate the complexities.
That's a good way to put it. And the good news is that achieving a high level of compliance
Okay.
with the national security scheme is actually considered equivalent to meeting NIS2 requirements.
So companies already working towards that standard are well on their way.
They're in good shape.
That's reassuring.
Yes.
But for companies that are just starting to grapple with NIS2, what's the first step? Where do they even begin?
The best starting point is a self-assessment.
Okay.
The National Cryptologic Center here in Spain has published some really helpful guidance documents.
Oh, good.
That walk businesses through the process of determining their current level of compliance and identifying any areas where they need to improve.
So there are resources available to help companies get a handle on things.
There's help out there.
That's a relief.
Good.
Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our NIS2 deep dive.
We've made a good start.
We've talked about the expanded scope, the emphasis on leadership accountability, and the importance of supply chain security.
Absolutely.
We've also highlighted the unique challenges faced by SMEs and the resources available to help them navigate these new requirements.
We've got a lot more to cover, though.
We do. Stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive, where we'll delve deeper into the practical steps companies can take to actually implement these new regulations.
Right.
We'll talk about risk management, security measures, incident response plans, all the nitty-gritty details.
Looking forward to it.
And we'll explore the support systems available to businesses.
Right.
And discuss the long-term vision for cybersecurity in Europe.
Yeah.
With the implementation of NIS2.
It's going to be interesting.
Until then, keep this thought in mind. In today's interconnected world, cybersecurity is no longer just an IT issue. It's a shared responsibility that affects everyone, regardless of your role or industry.
It really does.
So take a moment to consider your own organization's cybersecurity posture.
Okay.
Are you prepared for the NIS2 era?
Good question.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the NIS2 directive.
Happy to be back.
We've laid the groundwork, and now it's time to get into the nitty-gritty.
All right, let's do it.
The practical steps businesses can take to actually implement these new regulations.
Sounds good.
So where do we even start? If I'm a business owner, what's the first thing I should be focusing on?
One of the cornerstones of NIS2 is risk management.
Okay.
The directive requires companies to establish a comprehensive risk management framework.
Now, I know we've tossed around the term risk management.
Sure.
But for those who might not be familiar with the jargon, can you unpack that a little? What does that actually mean?
Think of it like a regular health checkup.
Okay.
You go to the doctor to identify any potential health issues.
Right.
Assess their severity.
Okay.
And then take steps to mitigate them.
So we're identifying the cyber equivalent of high blood pressure or cholesterol.
We're looking at things like vulnerabilities in your systems.
Okay.
Potential threats from hackers or malware.
Sure.
And the potential impact a cyber attack could have on your business.
Okay, so once we've identified these cyber health risks, what do we do about them?
That's where mitigation comes in.
Okay.
It's about implementing security measures and processes to reduce those risks to an acceptable level.
Can you give us some concrete examples?
Absolutely. Let's start with access control.
Okay.
This is about making sure that only authorized personnel have access to sensitive systems and data.
All right.
Think strong passwords, multi-factor authentication, regular reviews of user permissions.
So it's like having multiple locks on your front door?
That's a great analogy.
To make it harder for intruders to get in.
Exactly.
Okay.
Another crucial aspect is data encryption.
Okay.
This protects your data, both when it's being transmitted over networks, like when you're sending an email, and when it's stored on your servers or devices.
So even if someone manages to break in, the data itself is scrambled.
It's like having a secret code.
And not the right key.
That only you can decipher.
Okay, these all sound like sensible precautions.
Yeah.
But what about when things go wrong?
Right.
Despite our best efforts.
That's where having a robust incident response plan comes in.
Okay.
NIS2 requires companies to have a clear plan in place for how they will respond to a cybersecurity incident.
So it's not just about prevention.
Right.
It's about being prepared for the worst case scenario.
Exactly. A good incident response plan outlines the steps to take in the event of a breach.
Okay.
Including containment, eradication, recovery, and reporting.
So you contain the damage, get rid of the threat, get your systems back up and running.
Right.
And then report the incident.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the reporting aspect is particularly important under NIS2.
Okay.
The directive introduces stricter reporting obligations.
Okay.
Requiring companies to report significant cyber incidents within specific time frames.
I see.
So it's about transparency and helping to prevent similar incidents from happening to others.
Kind of like a neighborhood watch program, but for cybersecurity.
I like that analogy.
Okay.
And it highlights another key aspect of NIS2.
Okay.
Collaboration and information sharing.
Okay.
The directive encourages businesses, industry sectors, and even countries to work together to combat cyber threats.
And we talked earlier about SMEs facing resource constraints when it comes to implementing these security measures.
Right.
Are there any particular challenges they need to be aware of?
One of the biggest hurdles for SMEs is finding the right balance between security and operational efficiency.
Right, because
implementing complex security measures can be costly and time-consuming.
It can really disrupt their day-to-day operations.
Potentially disrupting their day-to-day operations,
So it's a delicate balancing act.
It is.
They need to protect themselves, but they can't let security concerns paralyze their business?
Exactly. That's why prioritization is so important for SMEs.
Okay.
They need to focus on the most critical security controls first.
Right.
Based on their specific risks and the resources they have available.
And again, seeking expert guidance can be invaluable.
Absolutely.
A cybersecurity consultant can help them tailor solutions to their specific needs and budget.
It's about working smarter, not necessarily harder.
Right. Okay. I think we've covered some really important ground here.
Yeah, we've made good progress.
We've talked about risk management, access control, data encryption, incident response plans, and the importance of collaboration.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, but I'm starting to get a clearer picture of what businesses need to do to prepare for NIS2.
And remember, it's not about becoming an overnight cybersecurity expert.
Right.
It's about taking a step-by-step approach.
Okay.
Leveraging available resources. And building a culture of cybersecurity awareness within your organization.
So it's a journey.
Precisely.
Not a destination.
Every step you take
okay.
towards strengthening your cybersecurity posture is a step in the right direction.
Well, we've covered the what and the how.
Yeah.
But now I'm curious about the why.
Okay.
What's the bigger picture here? What's the long-term vision for cybersecurity in Europe with the implementation of NIS2?
NIS2 represents a significant step towards a more resilient and secure digital landscape in Europe.
So are we talking about?
By setting minimum security standards, promoting accountability, and fostering collaboration.
Okay.
The directive aims to create a more robust and unified approach to cybersecurity across all sectors.
So it's about leveling the playing field, ensuring that all companies, regardless of their size or the sector they operate in, are prioritizing cybersecurity.
Because a cyber attack on one company can have cascading effects.
Oh, wow.
Impacting entire supply chains and critical infrastructure.
It's like a domino effect.
Precisely.
Where one weak link can bring down the whole structure.
Exactly. And that's why NIS2 is ultimately about protecting the digital society as a whole.
Okay.
It's about safeguarding our economies, our critical services, and our way of life in the digital age.
So let's bring it back to our listener.
Okay.
What are some key takeaways they should keep in mind as they navigate this new cybersecurity landscape?
First and foremost, understand the scope of NIS2
Yeah.
and whether it applies to your business.
Okay.
Determining if you fall under the definition of essential or important entities is crucial.
And then it's about being proactive.
Yes.
Don't wait for a cyber incident to happen. Start implementing those security measures, establishing that risk management framework, and creating your incident response plan.
Seeking expert guidance, especially for SMEs with limited resources, is also crucial.
Right.
Remember, there's support available.
Okay.
Don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah.
And leverage the expertise of cybersecurity professionals.
And finally, embrace collaboration.
Yes.
Engage with your industry peers. Share information. And learn from each other's experiences.
Absolutely.
We're all in this together.
Cybersecurity is a shared responsibility.
Right.
By working together, we can create a more secure and resilient digital future.
For everyone.
For everyone, exactly.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
But there's always more to explore.
Of course.
Stay tuned for the final part of our NIS2 deep dive.
Okay.
Where we'll delve into some intriguing real-world examples.
That's good.
and discuss the potential long-term impact of this groundbreaking directive.
Looking forward to it.
Until then, keep asking those critical questions.
Okay.
And remember, knowledge is power.
It really is.
When it comes to cybersecurity.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're back for the final part of our NIS2 deep dive.
Right.
We've talked about the what and the how.
Right.
But now I'm really curious to see how this all plays out in the real world.
Well, one thing to talk about it in theory,
right?
But seeing it in action is really what matters.
So can you give us some real-world examples of how NIS2 is impacting different sectors?
Absolutely. Let's start with the energy sector.
Okay.
It's a prime target for cyber attacks.
Yeah, because disruptions to power grids or pipelines can have huge consequences.
Exactly. And under NIS2, energy companies face much stricter requirements for securing their critical infrastructure.
So we're talking about things like real-time monitoring systems to detect intrusions.
Right.
Stronger defenses against malware. And detailed incident response plans.
Yes, tailored to the energy sector's vulnerabilities.
It's like building a digital fortress.
That's a good way to put it.
Around these critical assets.
Imagine a scenario where a hacker gets into a power grid control system.
Right.
And triggers a blackout.
Yeah, that would be devastating.
Across an entire city.
Wow.
NIS2 is designed to prevent that kind of thing.
Okay.
By making those systems more resilient.
So they can withstand an attack.
Right, and requiring energy companies to be prepared for the worst.
But it's not just about physical infrastructure.
Right.
What about sectors that deal with sensitive data, like healthcare?
Yeah, healthcare is another area where NIS2 has a big impact.
Okay.
Healthcare providers and organizations that handle patient data are now subject to stricter requirements regarding data protection and privacy.
So we're talking about
things like strong access controls to make sure only authorized personnel can view patient records. Encryption to safeguard the data from unauthorized access. And robust security awareness training for staff.
Yeah, to prevent things like phishing attacks.
Exactly. Imagine the damage that could be done if a hacker got into a hospital's patient database.
That would be terrible.
And held those records for ransom.
Oh, wow.
Or even worse, leaked sensitive medical information.
It's really about protecting patients.
It is. It's about protecting patients' privacy.
And making sure those records are kept safe.
And ensuring the integrity of those critical records.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's not forget about the financial sector.
Right. Another prime target for cybercriminals.
They handle so much money in sensitive customer data.
Vast amount.
It's a constant battle.
It is. Data breaches, fraud, ransomware attacks.
So how does NIS2 address that?
NIS2 requires financial institutions to implement robust security measures.
All right. So
things like multi-factor authentication to verify customer identities. Advanced fraud detection systems to spot suspicious transactions.
So it's about being proactive. And stringent incident reporting protocols.
To ensure transparency and accountability.
Okay, so it sounds like NIS2 is raising the bar for cybersecurity.
Absolutely.
Across the board.
It's not just about meeting minimum requirements anymore.
It's about creating a culture of cybersecurity.
Where everyone, from the boardroom to the IT department, understands the importance of protecting sensitive data and critical systems.
So it's a mindset shift.
Precisely.
But cybersecurity is not just an IT issue. It's a core business concern.
I think that's where we'll see the biggest long-term impact of NIS2.
I agree. It's driving a cultural change that will make businesses much more resilient and proactive in the face of these evolving cyber threats.
But even with these defenses in place, there will always be new challenges.
Of course, cybersecurity is a constantly evolving landscape.
So it's not a one-time fix.
No.
It's an ongoing process.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Of improvement and adaptation. Exactly. Hackers are always finding new ways to exploit vulnerabilities.
So businesses need to stay vigilant.
Businesses need to be vigilant and adaptable.
And adaptable. That's why NIS2 is so important.
It is. It provides a framework for continuous improvement.
A
roadmap for businesses to follow.
Right.
As they navigate the complexities of cybersecurity.
So as we wrap up our deep dive, what are the key takeaways for our listener?
First and foremost, NIS2 is a game changer for cybersecurity in Europe. It's not just about compliance. It's about embracing a cybersecurity mindset. That really permeates all aspects of business operations.
Be proactive.
Yes, be proactive.
Seek expert guidance if you need to.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
And collaborate with others to share knowledge and best practices.
It's a team effort.
We're all in this together.
Trust for security is a shared responsibility.
Right.
By working together, we can create a more secure and resilient digital future.
For everyone.
For everyone, exactly.
Well, Paco, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today.
My pleasure.
It's been a fascinating deep dive into the world of NIS2.
It really has.
And to our listeners, I hope this deep dive has helped you understand the NIS2 directive, what it means for you and your business.
It's important to be prepared.
Remember, knowledge is power when it comes to cybersecurity.
Absolutely. Stay safe out there.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the NIS2 directive.